Okay, we'll call the Washington County Board of Supervisors meeting to order. Please begin with me with a moment of silent prayer and then the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The roll call, excused is Supervisor Smisek, Supervisor Hartwig. I have not heard from Supervisor Berg. Anybody hear from Supervisor Berg? Okay, and Supervisor Dice is recovering from her bronchitis on Zoom. Feeling better? Good, good. Okay, awesome. Okay, first order of business is consent agenda. Motion, Mahalik, Mary. Any additions, deletions, anything? If not, Supervisor Boss or
Okay, we were scheduling the tour of the jail for October. However, we do not have any agenda items for our October meeting, so we're going to postpone that tour till November.
okay,
Thank
so-
you. Okay, so to repeat, the jail tour will be after the November public safety meeting. It will not happen in October.
Because there's no meeting. Okay. Okay, seeing nothing else, we'll just vote on this. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we're gonna move to number 9, action on items on resolution 44, 2021 resolution 44, authorize the purchase of property in town of Erin. Need a motion? Motion Supervisor Bossert, Supervisor Schleif. To begin with, I'm going to have the county clerk read a few citizen letters. Get to the record, sorry.
Okay, so the first letter to the Board of Supervisors dated October 13th, 2021. I write this as a plea asking that you not construct the tower at the Highway 167 and 83 corner location. This location does not seem to be a good fit. That is a prime location that's use could be better utilized. I'd like you to please put yourself in our shoes. Our property right next door to the possible proposed location is our field of dreams. Dreams we have saved for, invested for. Dreams of seeing our children and grandchildren grow up there. Dreams of our property to be safe and healthy for them. Folks have sought out the surrounding area for their homes and businesses because of the views, the naturalness of the area. The tower would negatively impact the skyline of some of Washington County's top attractions. Both attractions are just a short distance away. Holy Hill is renowned, attracting 500,000 visitors annually. These visitors add immense income to our local community. I can't imagine looking out those awesome steeple windows to the view of this tall tower and flashing lights. All the photos and artwork that are to come to include this tower sticking out on a street corner would just be disheartening. The Holy Hill area is unique. The current majestic beauty is what attracts. We can't lose that with building this tower in this rustic area. Another top Washington County attraction is the Erin Hills Golf Course. Erin Hills is in the top 9 public courses in the U.S. This is another great honor. The course was built so no homes could be seen. I doubt an added tower would be wanted. Just look at the cover of their book, host of the 2017 U.S. Open Championship, Erin Hills, Erin, Wisconsin. It provides the most beautiful picture of the course with Holy Hill in its background. The Erin Hill visitors, along with everyone who travels through this beautiful area, what I call our little bit of heaven on earth, enjoys the peaceful beauty of both of these iconic locations. Without the tower, the area has peaceful beauty. You cannot have this once a tall structure is set there. The flashes required at night distracts from that peace. The area in discussion is all part of the charm Washington County has to offer. To lose this due to an obstructive blinking structure is unconscionable. We can't lose what the book cover presents. Erin Hills is described as a must-see. Let's not let them see metal construction. The beautiful Kettle Moraine is also how Erin Hills markets their amazing golf course. Let's keep it that way. Going back to Holy Hill is on the National Historical Registry. We are not talking county, not talking state, but the national. I repeat, they are listed as on the National Historical Registry, something to be very proud of. If the tower is constructed, the very distinctive characteristic surroundings would be affected. Being listed on the registry alone calls for the landscape to be preserved and protected. We need to do all we can to not disrupt this icon. Our responsibility for future generations is to maintain the beauty of the area. It's ours and their future investment. This beauty cannot be recreated and would certainly be lost if the tower was built here. Please do not ruin these impressive panoramic views. I truly hope you realize this location is a mistake. Please do not let this be this board's legacy. Thank you for listening. Cindy Schaefer, concerned citizen. And then the second letter dated October 13th, 2021 to the Washington County Board of Supervisors regarding the purchase of land in the town of Erin. Dear Chairman Donald Creefall and distinguished county supervisors, tonight you are considering the purchase of land at 6695 State Highway 167 in the town of Erin for the purpose of constructing a radio tower for the Washington County Sheriff's Department. As an Erin town supervisor, I urge you to oppose buying the land for this purpose. While I completely acknowledge and agree the Sheriff's Department needs to maintain the highest quality radio system to ensure public safety, this location is not in the best interest of the town of Erin. In fact, I can't imagine a worse location in the town. Consider this: the corner of highways 83 and 167 where this land sits is the main intersection in the town of Erin. The northwest and southwest corners boast commerce and expanding barbecue business and the town's only gas station, while the northeast corner is a parkland. Immediately east and south of the proposed land purchase are beautiful residential lots with amazing views of Holy Hill. Does a 300-foot radio tower belong on that corner? Imagine comparable locations in Erin's neighboring communities: a tower on the corner of Pilgrim and Mequon Roads in Germantown, or at the intersection of Hubertus and Scenic Roads in Richfield, or perhaps the corner of Main and Sumner Streets in Hartford. Would you consider constructing a 300-foot tower at any of those locations? Erin may be smaller and have less commerce or residents, but the integrity and value of our community are no less important. Please show Erin and its residents the respect and consideration they deserve in this process. There are far better locations for this tower than the middle of Erin. Please allow us time to work with the Sheriff's Department to determine a better location in the town that will serve the department's needs while not infringing on the future of Erin and its residents. And besides, there are far better places for the county to spend $65,000. Make no mistake, this debate is about location, not the need for radio transmission service required for public safety in Washington County. Please know, as this issue has not been discerned by the Erin Town Board, this request is mine as a town supervisor and not on behalf of the town board. I would have preferred to deliver this in person, but am out of state and therefore unable to attend. Thank you. Thanks for your consideration. Respectfully, Mary Pat Blankenheim, Erin Town Supervisor. And then I'm not reading these letters, but there are additional. The owner of the Barbecue Company Grill and Catering, Andrew Jepson, is present. We have a letter from Joseph and Linda Herrick. Their residency is 6615 State Road 167. The Hall family, town of Erin residents, and Frank and Linda Bailey. And I believe that is all. Yes.
Okay, going to begin with County Executive Showman, giving a little brief overview. Get you on here. There you are.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate the opportunity to present to you today. Want to just give you a little bit of an update of the negotiation that's been happening back and forth with the town. Gave a similar update to the Land Use and Planning Committee, and there are a few tidbits that have happened since that presentation. the long and short of the discussion is that Washington County has had the idea, the approach, the sheriff's department particularly is running this project. The approach has always been to go to the existing dump site where the current tower is, but adjacent to that existing tower. So there's a long history that goes with that tower and the relationship specifically between the town, the county, and the company that is affiliated with that tower. It's not a good relationship from the county's perspective. That has nothing to do with the town. The town has been a good partner. That has not been the same case in this particular instance with this particular tower for the company. So it's put the sheriff's department and the county in a position where that tower is not an option. So the first choice again, and still to this day, the first choice is to go on that same property at an immediately adjacent location. Our request to the town most recently has been to carve off a piece of that property and to sell it to the county. We've been in this discussion and this dialogue with the town for probably close to 6 to 8 months now. As that discussion was going along, it became more and more clear that the town really didn't want that to happen, and they have their reasons for that. We just don't have any interest in going to that existing tower. So we began, the sheriff's department began to look at additional options for land where this could be located that would serve the purposes of the tower, which of course the primary purpose of the tower is public safety. Every EMT, fire department, the sheriff's department, police department in that area and throughout the county is served by this network. And that particular location is within about a mile as far south as you can go with a tower of any variety. The tower to the north end and the existing location is approximately as far north as you can go without really being kind of redundant to what the city of Hartford already has with their tower. So we've got a relatively small area that we're working with. We can't go much farther south, we can't go much farther north. The existing tower is not an option. And so we're in this back and forth with the town. The most recent development has been that the town has acknowledged that we don't want to be on the tower. They've approached us with the first draft of a long-term lease agreement that would allow the county to lease the land. I can say publicly that we have no interest in leasing land. We need to purchase land that the county can build this thing on. So the question becomes, where are we going to go to have a tower to address the public safety needs? That's the number one priority overall. Again, our first choice is to go to that, the existing 40-acre site. If I believe we'll be able to work our way through that with the town. I hope that we can work our way through that with the town. But this project, where we're at today, we're getting obviously into the winter months, and we need to have this decision made so that by the time we get to the spring, we're able to be breaking ground and build a tower no matter where it is. To make it even more complicated right now, we have to get boring samples from any other sites. The existing site and I'm speaking as county executive, not as sheriff who just walked in, but the site under consideration today, if I go astray here, either captain or sheriff, correct me if I'm wrong, but the existing location that we're talking about today that you're considering purchasing is a better location from a radio strategy perspective. It is not a better location for a whole laundry list of other reasons, some of which you just heard now, I'm sure some of which you'll hear and see later. So that being said, getting back to the sample borings, we have those for the site that you're considering today. We do not have those for the dump site, which we need before the ground freezes, and we're not able to get that, and we're delayed even further. So time is of the essence. The negotiation, like all negotiations, is being pushed as late in the game as possible to create as much intensity as possible. But at the end of the day, if the town is willing to sell us a piece of that 40-acre parcel where the existing tower is adjacent to it, that is our first choice to go there. And if they're not willing to do that, we need to have a backup plan, and this is the backup plan. So I hopefully gave you enough information to be able to have a informed debate about the discussion. Certainly the sheriff and Captain Stacer can go into more detail about the specifics of why that tower and why a new tower. All those details they can dive into when you get to that point in the discussion. But from a purely strategic standpoint, and for everybody who took the time to come here, thank you for coming, but please know we're ready to go at the existing site. We just need to be able to buy the land. So as far as I'm concerned, just like I told Land Use and Planning Committee a couple of weeks ago, the ball's in the town's court. And now we've gotten a kickback option, that being a lease. That is not an option. That'll be communicated back to the town. We want to buy a piece of land so that we can build the tower. We want to work together with the town. This is option B if we're forced to go that route. So I appreciate the opportunity, Mr. Chairman. I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm sure the sheriff would be as well.
Any questions? Supervisor Mary?
Well, yeah, I'm confused. The authorization to purchase the property town of Erin at 6695 State 167. This is the property owned by the town? Or this is the property that is,
That's Plan B right now. We're still negotiating with the town to try to get it on the site where the current tower is. But we're kind of over the barrel with timing. So we need to have another landing place just in case the town doesn't allow us to build there.
so the action on this tonight, if we were to say, yeah, let's go ahead and buy it, hopefully that might never come to pass. Is that what we're looking at?
Not exactly. So the chairman correctly articulated that our first choice is the town dump. We're asking you to purchase the Plan B, the option down closer to Highway 83 and Highway O. And we want to have that property in hand now. And once that property is in hand, if we're able to settle out with the town, I can guarantee you we're going to build on that dump site farther to the north, and then we'll sell the property at some point that we're purchasing today. If we can't come to agreement with the town, then this site would be the site that's utilized.
So the best case scenario for all the parties involved would be, yeah, we go ahead and buy the land and ultimately do nothing with it. And then eventually just sell it back to whomever wants to purchase it.
Put it
So-
on the market, exactly.
All right, very good. Thank you for clarifying.
Okay, I just want to ask a procedural question because this is on the agenda for both an open session and a closed session. I want to make sure we know what is germane to discuss in open session and what we're holding off for closed session.
Well, I didn't articulate that appropriately. We're not going to have the closed session. We're just going to be just an open session.
So we're just going to do everything
Yep, we're
open session,
doing-
catch up.
Yeah, doing all the
Okay.
discussion out in open. So.
All right, sounds good.
Great, thank
Thanks.
you. Supervisor Sorcy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Josh, this is going back a while, but we had so many problems with the radio. I know in Hartford, they had the problems with the buildings where it was coming. This new system will rectify the whole, I mean, officer's down and he's trying to get ahead. We don't want to have that problem happen.
Right, so if you remember back, so what you're suggesting, and for those who don't know exactly what that meant, the original system that we had that was built right around 2010, there were some issues with it penetrating large buildings in particular. A lot of that was addressed kind of as a midpoint step to this project, where there were a number of additions and improvements made to the system and upgraded it to a new classification called 700 megahertz system. I used the right term. Ooh, look at that. So this now would be completing that 700 system. Okay, so before it made enough upgrades to solve the problem areas throughout the county. This would kind of close the loop, if you will, on that, the entirety of that project. And basically you can kind of take to the bank every 15 years. We'll be coming back saying, okay, we need another upgrade. We need another upgrade. Because it's essentially today a computer system is what it is. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Supervisor Conrad.
Thank you. Of course, as a healthcare professional, advanced practice nurse that's worked in emergency departments and most of my career at Prater Level 1 Trauma Center Teaching Hospital, I am for, this advanced system. But I have some concerns. I just too want to clarify. So if we would not need this, you would sell it back, and we would have that in writing somehow, somewhere. Are you, I didn't, I would want that in writing. Or what else would we do with it? If,
Sorry.
There is nothing else. I mean, we would have no use for it at that point, so we'd put it on the market. I mean,
okay,
I got chastised for selling 3 acres of a park. I'm pretty sure I'd be able to make it through selling
Okay.
this piece of property, which everybody over there would want us to sell.
okay,
And everybody over there would want us to sell.
yeah, okay. I just want to make sure maybe we should have that in writing. And could you help explain why not the lease versus purchase?
So there's a number of concerns we have with the lease as we saw it, not the least of which is obviously when you have a lease, you don't have total control over the property, which is one of the big issues that we had dating back to the last radio project was we didn't have total control, and frankly, neither did the town. So when I said before that really wasn't the town's fault, it really is not the town's fault. It's more an issue with the company. So we want to make sure that the county's got control over this property for a variety of reasons, not the least of which is being a public safety tower, it has different standards that we like to hold it to. And there's possibilities for additional revenue sources as well to help lower the overall cost or leverage down the infrastructure cost. So it doesn't really make sense for us to have the lease, including some of the terms that we've seen in the lease. So a clean ownership is hands down, bar none, the best situation for the people of Washington County.
Okay, and I'm sorry, I think this is my final question. Were there other Plan Bs, were there potential other pieces of property that would be as ideal or looked at? Why was this Plan B selected? Could you just
Please.
share a little more detail on that?
Mic on? Yes. So the geographic area of the county that we're talking about is kind of restrictive to where the tower can go. It doesn't make any sense to have the tower any further north than what it is because there's a tower in the city of Hartford. And so where the current site is, it wouldn't make sense to go farther north. We can't go much farther south because without getting into a whole lot of schematics, the microwave link that links the entire system together, the tower down in Aaron has to reach the tower in Slinger. And if the tower goes any farther south, Holy Hill starts to cut into that pie. So it has to kind of be in that window of area. And when the town originally, they really wanted to work with us and we strive to do that. But when they did not want to have us put the tower on it was referred to as a dump site. I don't want to misconstrue the town board or the county board here. It was never a dump. It was used for dumping leaves and brush, but it was more of a gravel pit. But when when they did not want us initially to build another tower there. So that forced me to look for an alternate site. And I had to look for a piece of property that was in that window. I had to look for a smaller piece of property. This was about 3.6 or 8 acres, something like that. And there's not a whole lot of properties that are available down in that area of that acreage.
Yeah, then could you just clarify then since we are complete open session, what can't we come to agreement on? What's the defining factor why we haven't been able to settle this?
I think there's actually a couple of them, but the biggest one is the county wants ownership of that piece of property. And most of that is lessons learned from when we haven't had ownership of that property. And the rest of it boils down to what happens with liabilities and things of that nature. That if you want to go into that detail, we certainly can try to go into that detail, but then we really ought to go into closed session.
Yeah, I just want to, make as best informed decision as possible here.
I totally understand. And if we start talking indemnification, really what you're talking about is litigation. So we don't want to talk about in open session.
Supervisor Bishop.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Procedurally, is it possible to postpone this until we know where we're at with the town of Erin? We did postpone it last month. Or is there a timeline that will this property become unavailable if we don't act tonight?
I think I could probably speak to that. So our window of opportunity is is narrowing. I'll tell you what our worst case scenario would be, is that we don't purchase the existing property that you're contemplating tonight. Then we do the NEPA studies on the gravel and we lose the opportunity to buy the existing property, which we have to have I believe the offer to purchase expires the second week of December, first week of December. November, I'm sorry, November. So then if we lose the ability to have that property and the town gravel pit does not pass the NEPA studies, we don't have a single site to put the tower on.
Okay. So yeah, time is of the essence on
Correct.
this. Okay, thank you.
Supervisor Schleif.
Just asking for clarification. When we've discussed this before, the problem with, you talk about the pie, this tower needs to see the microwave tower on Highway 60, correct?
That's correct.
That's the whole problem, is with all the hills and
Yeah, so the farther south you would go in town of Erin.
Holy Hill gets in the way,
It's in
be
the
in
way
the
of
shadow,
on the site. Unless you build a really, really tall tower.
which nobody wants. Thank you.
Supervisor Krebs.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had three questions. I think you answered the first one. We do have an accepted offer to purchase on the site, and it's just a matter of when it expires.
Correct.
Okay. Second question. Currently, doesn't the county already lease other sites for the radio system? I know it's always preferred to own it. But if we've already leased other tower sites, I'm sure we could work on a lease agreement with the town to build there.
Closed session.